Good afternoon. Welcome to Options Tender. It is Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024. Welcome, everybody. We're going to go through SPY on the monthly all the way down to the 65. Give you a overall analysis, and we're going to check out the VIX. I think we're getting real close to a minor top here, and so I want you to be aware of any pullback, and I do think it'll be bought, and I'll show you why. Also, I'll show you a couple targets. If you're new here, I'll show you the projection on where I think we're going. I think there's two potential tops, and so we'll have to look out for those. So let's, first of all, if you're new here, go down to that bottom right-hand corner, hit that Options Tender logo, and subscribe. Thanks for all the likes. You guys have been fantastic. Let's start off with the SPY. And I move pretty slow on this channel, just so you know. This is very educational. I want you to see what I'm seeing and then do your own analysis and your own trading styles and things like that. I'm just giving you an overview of what I think the market's going to be doing. So we were in this inside month for quite some time, and we started to break out from it, so we had to kind of change our analysis. We thought we were going to get a lower high and start correcting. We didn't do so. We're still above the 8 EMA. That's our trend indicator on this channel. We use the 8 EMA on all time frames to show what kind of trend we're in. Now, we have the 2000 top here connected with the top here on 2022, and we're coming into that area fairly quickly here. It's just above. Now so we're forming this rising bullish wedge. Okay, now I'm actually going to draw another one and make that wedge from the 2008 top. All right, now what that does for us, it gives us another target, and I'll probably have to just adjust that. What you can do, well, that's far enough above right now, so it's extremely higher. So we just have to keep these things in mind. I don't think we're getting to 600. I don't think that's happening, but I just want to keep that in mind, that that's a good wedge as well. But I think this is going to be our main one, and I'll highlight that a little bit more so we don't get caught up and start getting a busy chart. I want to keep this simple. And so anyway, we're breaking out, and we're coming into that uptrend there. And that's all I want to show you on the monthly. We have divergence on all time frames, so I'm not going to show you that. The new divergence has been on the weekly. So we've been constantly talking about the divergences, the negative divergences on every time frame except for the weekly, and we did that in the weekly. So we have, again, this is the weekly point of view. So we see we're coming into the potential channel top and also this 2008 trend line up here. Now I have my arrow pointed right at that confluence there, right in that zone. That's 543 zone. Keep that in mind. It's a very important number. We're going to use that number on every time frame now. So from this point of view, that would be our next potential top. Can we top here? Sure. Do we have any signs of it? No. All right, so let's go down to the daily, and we'll start really keying into some detail here. Daily trend is our friend. We're going to start off with the traditional technical analysis, and you see the wedge that we're filling out here, held on to the bottom of the wedge. And if we zoom in here, if we were taking a direct route, let's say we have FOMC today and we have NVDA also after the bell. So if we go directly above, we're at about 537. It's possible we go up there, but I think we'd have to correct. I don't know if we're going to do that. I do think it's more likely that we eke out a little bit of a high here, we have some resistance levels that we'll show you. But if we get over those resistance levels from whatever catalyst, either the FOMC minutes or NVIDIA, then our next target will be above us. But at some point, we're going to have to correct if we're going to get to these targets. We're not going to go directly there. It won't make any sense visually from a rising wedge point of view. I think it's more likely that we correct. We've been above this 8 EMA. We have not corrected yet. So we could test all the way back to, it's possible all the way back to the 50 and the 20. Okay, but these all-time highs are going to hold up some support as well. So this could be just a sideways move for some time. If it's just sharp and quick, then I think that we have the pullback and we have a buying opportunity. So to keep the simple analysis, as long as we're above this trend line on this daily and weekly time frames, we're bullish. Okay, we're getting a little bit negative here in the lower time frames, in the 65 minutes. So we're gonna add some put protection on here really soon to hedge our calls. Okay, super important. Now, if you're new, here is the projection. We're looking at this being an ending diagonal. I'm sure there's plenty of different counts out there for Elliott wave. It's speculation, so we're not just relying on counting. We're relying on levels, on indicators, all of this together. So what we have so far is an ABC into 1, ABC to 2. Nice large wave 3 is longer than wave 1. So now wave 5 can be whatever it needs to be. So ABC up into 3, ABC into 4. Very shallow wave 4. So that says that the market is very bullish. Now, if we have this sharp correction and we come all the way down to the 382, which I don't think that's going to happen, but it's possible, that would be an expanding flat that happened, and all we would do is move wave 4 down to here. So that's why we need this put protection. This could be pretty massive, but then we're just not looking for that right now. Okay, we do have divergences on the weekly, so I think this move is going to get a little bit it's going to get a little bit slower, but we might have sharp pullbacks. So if we have any pullbacks, maybe those are sharp and quick, and then we start grinding to the upside as momentum ends. So I do think wave 4 is in so far, and this is a busy chart, and we'll get in a little bit closer, but I have our time ratios, the vertical lines. Those are time clusters that we look for in relationship with price. So we're right at one right now, and like I said, I'm going to dig in there just a little bit closer as soon as I show you. I have a slight projection here. Now, this doesn't mean just straight up to that point, but this would be our final target. So if I had to label targets, we're at the first target on the daily time frame. Second target would be the 150, and guess what? That 150 is at 545, 546. So that's right in the same zone as that 543. Consider that because price loves to spike through things and get through stops and stuff like that. It could spike and get that 546 and then correct, and we'd still consider that 543 area. And the last target, which would take plenty of time, would be up here at around the 560. So that would be our final target there. And where do I get these targets? From the correction from 2022, 21 into 22. As a full year of correction, we take the bottom of it to the top of it. This is the top. That's the bottom. And then you have retracements all the way up. And then after you break to new highs from that former all-time high, then these are now extensions that are highlighted right now. So we already passed the first one at the 127. We corrected here. You saw we got above it, couldn't hold above it, and corrected. Now we're holding that 127, and we're moving on to the. So if you're thinking way back here, you have targets. now you could say, we hit target 1, we hit target 2 now, and it'd be 3 and 4. But just for this video's purpose, we are now at our first target, second and third. Okay, so I do suspect that we correct a little bit from here. Now that I showed you that, we can dig in just a little bit closer to this time relationship. And we have this time relationship at 23, the May 23rd and the 28th. So we'll see what happens here. We're coming into the 23rd, which is tomorrow. So today is good enough. You have to give a little bit of leeway either way. And so maybe what this tells me is that maybe we spike up overnight. Anything can happen. Maybe we have the top end right now. Maybe we come up just a couple more points just to get a new high with divergences, create another divergence on the lower level. So we just have to see what happens going into this time frame for us to actually make a plan. But we're long, and we want to put on put protection because we are still bullish. Now, if this is a very sharp move to the downside, then look out for May 28th. That's just a few days going into next week. Maybe that's the bottom. We make a sharp move, and now we're going to grind back to the upside. And then as we move up to the upside, we'll look at these levels one at a time. And like I said, this isn't a straight line. It's possible that we go up to the 150 around this cluster here mid-June, correct? And then go to our last target all the way into late July here, or beginning of August. And that's where I have our just kind of a rough projection of what I think might happen if we even get up to this level. Now, the reason I say that, it's a big if, because we have that 543 zone, and it could say 543 to 546 zone that we're going to be looking for. So let's make sure that we keep that in mind as we go down to the before we go down to the 65. Let's go over to the VIX. We want to compare the VIX to SPY, and now this is another reason why I think that we're really close to correcting. We're in this complacent move. We've had this channel that we reject off over and over. This was the entire move that we were expecting a breakout here, but clearly this was some sort of ABC pattern. Now we know that's done, and we're correcting that pattern. We've made a new low. We're right in my green 12 complacency area, and we have a little bit of room down to the bottom of this large wedge. It's just a massive wedge that we're getting into. So we have a little room down to about the 1140, 1150 area if we get a little bit bullish into tomorrow and top tomorrow. And then we have the indicators are very negative on SPY on the market. So, inversely, we're looking at a cross happening just imminently on the daily. For the MACD, we already have bullish divergence on the RSI. And we're getting our early cross on the slow stoke. Okay, so just warning signals, and but we do suspect we'll buy the dip. Perhaps if we get that sharp move that I was talking about, then we get a spike back up to whatever level that might be, maybe just a lower high. I'm not buying the VIX, so it could be a level all the way to test the top here. It could be a sharp move and then drop again to the lower part of the wedge if we start to get new highs again. Okay, so we'll just keep that in mind as we go. And I do want to, I would suspect, because of our loss of momentum, that we do get a sharp move to the downside. But just keep in mind, it could be simple sideways move like this. So if price doesn't want to go down, like I said, we're going to be buying the dip, and we're going to be looking for some lows coming in fairly quickly. But it doesn't mean that we just don't go sideways for a while and build on our market structure to the upside. So we'll have to see what price action does here. We're just going to be cautious into this type of area. We could hold all-time highs and just have a sideways move and then continue to the upside. Now let's take a closer look on the 65 so we can get a glimpse of what that might look like. And that's why traditional technical analysis is so important to add on to these layers. And so we have our large wedge that we're holding. And here's a wedge top. And all of this, I have this here for a reason. All of this comes into about the 543 area here. So that is late May. I think we start to reach some tops here, but as we correct, we want to hold this trend bottom. So that would be the deepest, quickest way if we come down here in a couple days and we hold this wedge bottom here, which we have a little bit of room. I have 2 lines there because I'm lining up the benefit of the doubt here, 2 points with the wick at the bottom. So it's a little bit more of a little bit more shallow of a uptrend, so we could spike through there and hold it. So we have this 200-day moving average on the 65. This would be our lowest point. If we came quickly, we'd come down to there. And notice that's about the 513 zone. Keep that in mind as well. So we have 543 we're keeping in mind, but on the downside, we have 513. We don't have to reach all the way down to 513. It's just a point of reference. If we do get there, that's a good buy point. That's actually a fabulous buying point. But we'll keep these levels in mind. We have the 523, which is former all-time highs. And of course, the trend is heading up. So the longer this takes, we could go sideways into the trend line as well. Honestly, we don't have to come down to the trend line, but it would be, filling this out more. Maybe we come all the way up here first, continue up, and then by 531, by the end of May, then we correct, and then we head up. So I know that I'm giving you all these scenarios, but we need to keep in mind when we get to these points, if we get up here to 543 first, we know that that's a very good looking short opportunity. If we get down here to the bottom first, we know to take off of our put protection, and we know that's a nice long play, and we'll be looking for longs and calls and not only SPY and QQQ, but also individual names as well. So this would be a fantastic place to put on some positions. And then I think we start to roll higher. Now, with the traditional technical analysis, all we're saying is we're going to fill out this wedge a little bit more. Now, to get some levels, horizontal levels are very important to me. Let's go to the hourly Elliott wave situation, and we'll dig in just a little bit closer here. All right. So this seems to be stalling a bit. It's a consolidation, and so if we start to, let me crunch this down so I can get the upper area, 543. There's our number again. If we get a correction, this is the former all-time high, the white line here, and that's also the 23.6. If we just get if we get a rejection at our near levels here, we just quite haven't reached them yet. So what I'm kind of looking at is this being very deceitful. It's been a few days, almost a full week of sideways movement. So you would suspect that with that sideways movement, we have a nice breakout. So that's one scenario that we go almost straight up, or just, on similar angle to this last one, and we kind of work our way up to 543, and you see we have some time events coming up there into the end of May. That's what I was talking about. So the thing is, how you have to look at this is if we get on top of this 5 we'll call it 533, that's the 127. If we get on top of it, that's bullish, and it's likely that price is going to continue to the upside. If we reject off of this 533, which I think is a little bit more likely because we have all these divergences on the lower time frame as well. I do think that's where we get our rejection, but again, this could be a sideways move or it could be sharp. Now we have our buying opportunities down here. You have the 29th, you have the 31st, and we have some buy zones as well. So the one that's most likely if we get a sharp move is where the trend line comes into. And that's about the 50%, and that's the 513 if it's a sharp move. Again, that's where the 200 moving average is. So I put the worst case scenario here, and then we start grinding up to the upside. And then we have some time references going into 543. That's the middle of June. So this is our likely situation. Like I said, I'm not sure how it will correct. It could be because we have a catalyst, and maybe NVIDIA has a huge gap down, and then goes to all-time highs. Of course, it's how we can look at that. It drags maybe they'll drag the market down with it, and then we start to gain a little bit of market momentum to the upside again. Again, if we get on top of 533, then we just likely grind, and maybe NVIDIA's headed to the upside from its earnings. We'll just have to put all that in. I'll do another video tomorrow because we don't know what NVIDIA is going to do. Definitely has some weight in the market, almost as much as Apple. Actually, I could argue more because it's volatility, but that's neither here nor there. We haven't quite reached our targets, so we're looking to add on put protection right into this zone. Into the 532 to 533 zone is where we're putting on our put protection, and then we'll see what happens into tomorrow. Likely gap up or gap down with these different things that are happening. So 2 p.m. is FOMC. That's Eastern Standard Time. So keep an eye out for that. That could drag the whole market down in itself. Let's go over to the VIX. And by the way, I put this lowest one. That's a 50% retracement of this entire move here. So if this move is done, 50% retracement. I do have this labeled A, B, C, because the top could be in here. 543 could mark the top. But if we get another correction up here at 543, it is very possible that we can get another shallow retracement and it grind higher. And that would just be filling out that wedge again. I'm not going to pull it back up, but that would just be filling that wedge again. But this is a perfect spot to go short. This would be our target from just how we did on the 2022 correction. And on the higher time frames, we have the 127 extension and the 162. Those are our most important ones. This correction that we have for wave 4, that's our extension from those on the lower time frame. So 543 could be it. We don't have to go to 560, but if we do get above 543, you better believe we're going to 560 somehow in some way. So we'll be looking to see what happens after this point. VIX, and we'll monitor the VIX as all this starts to play out as well, because you have our falling wedge that's happening right now. I think we're right into that complacency 12. We made a new low with divergence, positive divergence, and I think if this starts to play out, let's extend this. Turn our right extension on so it continues to the downside. We start to break out from here, then we're starting a correction. We'll just have to see how that plays out, because we have the 100 moving average here kind of coinciding with this 1550. That's a good resistance. So maybe price goes up to here and starts pulling back for a new low as price action starts to go higher. We reach new highs. Now, if that is the case, then that could be, like I said, that could be our top at 543 while the VIX is making new lows, and it's a very, very good chance that the top is in, and we had much higher in the VIX at that point. But just know that we have one last target above at 560 that could possibly still be in play. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. We're going to do another video tomorrow as we have more information so we can keep guiding you, keep teaching you what to look for. Thanks for joining us here at Options Tender. Have a wonderful day. Talk to you tomorrow.